Welcome to another informative episode of Alberta Doctors Digest, brought to you by the Alberta Medical Association. You've tuned in to one of the many stories from our online publication at add.albertadoctors.org. We're the flagship source of information and opinion of the Alberta Medical Association, with a mission of advocating for and supporting Alberta physicians, strengthening their leadership in the provision of sustainable quality care. Let's get started. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Alberta Doctors Digest podcast, brought to you by the Alberta Medical Association. As always, I'm your host, Editor-in-Chief Marvin Polis. For this episode, I'm at the Edmonton offices of the Alberta Medical Association, here to continue our series about the Physician and Family Support Program, also known as the PFSP. Now, with me today, I have Dr. Erica Dance and Dr. Diana Meekins. They are the clinical and program co-directors of PFSP. Okay, well, first up, Dr. Dance, tell me, what does a clinical and program co-director do?
Clinical and program co-directors, it's a job share position. So there's two of us filling the role, each working half-time. And together we oversee the program, all aspects of the program. We oversee the clinical case management, which includes working with our third-party service provider, Unify, who runs the assistance line and takes all the calls from physicians across the province. We also work with our internal case coordination team, which is the team that helps to support physicians who need more wraparound or increased supports. And we also work with our admin team to oversee the management of the program itself.
All right, now over to you, Dr. Meekins. Tell me about the PFSP. What is it? What's it all about?
The PFSP is a confidential program that provides support with personal health issues through three core services: the 24/7 365 assistance line, physician wellness events and program promotion, and case coordination. The PFSP enhances the quality of patient care and public safety by promoting health and well-being for the medical profession that cares for all Albertans. The PFSP is a benefit provided through an agreement between the Alberta Medical Association and the Alberta government. The PFSP is grant-funded through this agreement, and the PFSP has been supporting Alberta physicians since 1998.
Understood. Now, we had touched on the three core services PFSP provides. Let's get into those a little bit more. First off, Dr. Dance, let's talk about the assistance line. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, the assistance line is really the flagship of our program, and it's where we pay a lot of attention and focus. We run a 24/7 assistance line that physicians, resident physicians, medical students, and their immediate family members can call anytime, 24/7, 365. That line is always answered by a real person from our third-party service provider called Unify that runs that service for us. When you call the line, like I said, you always get a real person. That person will get some information so that we can best direct your call. Physicians, medical students, resident physicians, and the family members who call the line are always offered to speak to a peer supporter. We have assessment physicians who take calls on the line and are always available to speak to callers about whatever it is they're calling about. And you can receive some peer support through active listening and validation of your concerns. And they'll also collect information so that we can make our best match to a therapist if that's what you're interested in. We have a large network of therapists in the province, and we fund some amount of the sessions for people to go to. So we fund 6 hours of therapy for each eligible person and 6 hours for a family to share.
Now, something I'm curious about is, why do people call the assistance line?
People call the assistance line for a variety of reasons, and we like to say that you can call us for anything. We're always happy to help. Some of the most common reasons, though, are around crisis situations or mental health concerns when people are feeling down or unwell, and especially if it relates to substance use, especially if that's in a physician or medical student or resident physician. We also are very happy to support people through issues at home, relationship issues, issues with their marriage or with children. Very happy to support through those concerns as well. People often call us too for occupational stress, whether it's stress at work or whether they need some help to arrange something like an independent medical examination that has been required from our regulatory body or the health authority. We can support through those processes as well. We also are there to talk to people in a situation such as having an adverse event at work, or when you just need to talk about a situation in a confidential and private manner. We also get calls on the line from third parties, so colleagues, family members, or leaders in the medical community can call our line to get advice if they have worries about their physician colleague or physician family member.
Understood. Now, I've heard the term P for P. Dr. Dance, what does that mean?
The P4P program is our Physicians for Physicians program, and this is where we try to recruit family physicians in Alberta who are able and willing to see physicians as patients. Physicians need to have a family physician of their own, and we're big supporters that all physicians, medical students, resident physicians as well, should have a family physician of their own for primary care. We keep a list of family physicians who are able to see their colleagues as patients. So eligible physicians who call the line can get a name of a physician who may be able to see them for ongoing primary care. One thing that's important to remember about the P4P program is that it doesn't imply any priority or expedited service. So callers who are given the name of a family physician still need to meet the clinic's requirements for intake and for access, but we're very happy to make that connection for physicians in need of a family doctor with physicians who are able to take on physician colleagues as patients.
Now, I understand the PFSP works to remove barriers that physicians may have when it comes to calling the assistance line. Dr. Dance, can you tell me more about what this looks like?
It is true, the Physician and Family Support Program has been in its current form since 1998, so it's a very long-running program. And with that experience, we've been able to sort of see and learn from and predict some of the barriers that physicians have when they are thinking about reaching out for support. One of the ways that we try and reduce the barriers is by having an assistance line that's available 24/7, 365. Eligible callers can call that line anytime and have access to peer support and referral to therapy or other services as needed whenever it is that they need that support. We also very much care about confidentiality and privacy. So we have multiple mechanisms in place to ensure that a caller's privacy and confidentiality is maintained. We also feel very strongly about peer support and the ability to speak to a peer. So we have physicians that take calls on the assistance line. So you're speaking to a colleague who's been there and who knows what you've been through or something similar. Some of the other barriers is that we cover the costs for therapy for eligible callers, so that they can access therapy without worrying about added costs. And then we also have increased supports and wraparound services for people who need more support other than calling the assistance line.
Now, Dr. Meekins, let's go back to our main core services. One of them is case coordination. Tell me about case coordination.
The PFSP's Case Coordination Service provides support to physicians, resident physicians, and medical students in Alberta who are managing complex mental health, personal, or occupational concerns. We provide wraparound support where our case coordinators can meet with clients on an ongoing basis to help support them through a variety of issues related to health, occupational difficulties, or issues in their personal lives. Case coordination is a voluntary service designed to help you access the clinical and non-clinical resources you need. While we don't provide direct treatment, our team can, with your consent, work with your treatment providers and other involved individuals to ensure you get the support you need.
All right, now let's talk about the third core service. In my understanding, that's the physician wellness, events, and program promotion. Dr. Meekins, tell me about this.
The physician wellness, events, and program promotion portion of the PFSP includes a variety of activities and resources focused on physician wellness. This includes our staff attending conferences, events, and orientations for learners in Alberta, as well as publications in PFSP Perspectives in Alberta Doctor's Digest, with short articles focused on physician well-being. We also work with physicians to develop a variety of presentations on topics related to physician wellness. The goal is to foster a culture of physician well-being by delivering meaningful wellness education, integrating wellness initiatives into professional gatherings, and amplifying authentic physician voices through shared resources, all to support personal and professional health and to establish wellness as a core part of physician life and practice.
Okay, so those were the core services. I understand, Dr. Dance, that there are some other services as well. Among these, group therapy and group crisis services. Tell me about these.
Yes, we do have some added services such as group therapy and group crisis therapy. The group therapy is for eligible callers who've been working with their therapist and where they and their therapist feel that group therapy might be beneficial to them. And they can be referred to a group therapy program and use their outstanding hours towards that type of therapy. The other is group crisis therapy, and that's where a group, typically a physician group or a resident or medical student group of physicians, have experienced some form of crisis. For example, unfortunately, the loss of a colleague, and they are looking for some support as a group for how to deal with that crisis event. And we offer a group crisis therapy session, typically a one-time session, to help that group address those concerns. Any group that is interested in a group crisis session like that can call the assistance line anytime to set that up.
Right, so all this has me wondering, who can actually access PFSP? Dr. Meekins?
So physicians, resident physicians, and medical students in Alberta can access all parts of the PFSP. Immediate family members, including spouses and dependent children under 25, are eligible to call the assistance line, as well as make use of funded therapy hours for family members. Third-party callers concerned about someone in the physician group may also make use of the assistance line.
Well, you know, Dr. Dance, it seems to me that the PFSP is really quite unique. So I want to talk about that a little bit more. So one of the things that really seems unique to me is its physician-focused service. Tell me about that.
Yes, the PFSP is quite unique and is physician-focused. When an eligible caller calls the assistance line, they're always offered to speak to a physician colleague for peer support. And that assistance line is run by an Alberta-based organization that has decades of experience dealing with physicians. And so we feel very strongly that physician-to-physician peer support and local service provider is very unique for a physician health program.
And I'm guessing that the way you tailor your matching to therapists is unique as well.
Yes, we have a very unique ability to tailor callers and their needs to individual therapists. We have a very large network of experienced therapists to choose from, and so we can make a best match from that therapy network.
Okay, Dr. Dance, one of the things I wanted to do here on behalf of our listeners is to do a deep dive into confidentiality. What more can you tell me about that?
Yes, confidentiality is of the utmost importance to the PFSP. We function independently from the regulator, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta, as well as from the health authorities and the universities. We also have multiple systems in place to ensure confidentiality of each caller. So all conversations with the PFSP and its contractors or the third-party service provider remain confidential, and no identifiable information is shared with the AMA or with the core PFSP team. The assistance line is managed and operated by an independent third-party contractor with years of experience in dealing with physicians and their families. And that third-party service provider assigns an alphanumeric number to each caller to separate their private information from any demographics. It's that service provider that also manages all the referrals to therapists, and none of that is documented in the provincial electronic health record. So only non-identifiable caller information is shared with the core PFSP team, and that's shared for statistical purposes, for program development, or to support the assessment physicians who take the calls on the line. It's also important to note that confidentiality is reviewed at the start of each call when a caller speaks to the assessment physician, and those callers are always offered the opportunity to ask any questions they have about confidentiality.
Now, what if I call the assistance line and know the assessment physician on call? How does Unify manage that?
If a caller calls the line and has a conflict with the assessment physician that's on call, please remember there's always a second physician on call, and then we have a third line, which is Dr. Meekins and I, that are also always available if there's conflicts with both assessment physicians.
All right, now this does get me wondering if there are any special aspects to confidentiality as it relates to case coordination specifically. So Dr. Meekins, tell me about that.
Yes, there are a few things to know specifically about confidentiality within case coordination. We use an informed consent process to disclose personal information in order to liaise with treatment providers as well as other non-clinical supports who may be involved in more complex situations. We work with clients to ensure they understand what information will be shared and the purpose of the disclosure. We will not share information without clients' consent.
Are there any limits to this confidentiality?
Yes, there are. In situations where an assessment physician or case coordinators are obligated by law or regulatory standards, they would be required to take reasonable steps to ensure the safety of the client or others if there are concerns. This could include reporting to appropriate authorities. But in this case, these concerns would be discussed with the client transparently with the goal of coming up with a plan together that the client is comfortable with.
All right, it's time for us to wrap up. So what are you thinking in terms of summary? Dr. Meekins?
PFSP is here to support you throughout your career. Please don't hesitate to reach out.
Dr. Dance?
In summary, I would like to encourage my colleagues, all physicians in Alberta, the resident physicians, medical students, or their immediate family members to call our line anytime. No issue is too big or too small, and it's never too early or too late to call the PFSP. We're here to support you, and we'd be very happy to do so.
Amazing. I love that. It's never too early or too late to call. And in fact, that phone number is 1-877-767-4637. And you can call 24/7, 365 days a year. Dr. Meekins, Dr. Dance, thanks for joining me. Thanks again for tuning in to Alberta Doctors Digest, brought to you by the Alberta Medical Association. This has been just one of the many stories from the current issue of our online publication. You can read the entire publication at add.albertadoctors.org. See you next time.